Today's episode is about one of the oldest, most painful, most controversial, and most misunderstood subjects in human relationships: adultery. It is a word that can destroy a marriage, a word that can divide families, a word that can trigger shame, anger, desire, guilt, secrecy, revenge, social judgment, legal consequences, and deep emotional pain. For some people, adultery is simply betrayal. For others, it is a symptom of a dead marriage. For some, it is moral failure. For others, it is emotional escape. For some, it is forbidden passion. For others, it is trauma. For some, it is illegal. For others, it is no longer a crime, but it can still lead to divorce, social rejection, or family breakdown. So today, we are going to look at adultery seriously. Not to glorify it, not to excuse it, not to shame people in a simplistic way, but to understand it. What does adultery mean? How does it happen? What is the psychology behind it? Why do men and women enter affairs? How do societies judge it? How is it treated in Asian and Western countries? Is it ever accepted in any culture? Is it illegal anywhere? Can it benefit anyone? And what damage can it create in the mind, the marriage, the family, and future relationships? Today's episode is called The Psychology of Adultery: Love, Betrayal, Desire, and Consequences. Let us start with the basic meaning. Adultery usually means an intimate relationship between a married person and someone who is not their spouse. In simple terms, it is when a person breaks the promise of exclusivity within marriage. But modern relationships make this more complicated. Some couples define betrayal differently. For one couple, betrayal may mean a physical affair. For another, emotional closeness with secrecy may feel like betrayal. For another, hidden messages, romantic attention, dating apps, or online intimacy may cross the line. For another, the couple may have an open or consensual non-monogamous arrangement, where outside relationships are not automatically betrayal because both partners have agreed to the rules. So the key issue is not only the physical act, the key issue is the agreement. What was promised? What was hidden? What boundary was broken? What trust was violated? Adultery is not just desire outside marriage. It is desire plus secrecy, deception, or betrayal of a marital commitment. That is why it hurts so deeply. The betrayed partner often says, "It is not only what you did, it is that you lied. It is that I was living in one reality while you were living in another." That is the wound. Adultery does not just break a rule, it breaks reality. Now, how does adultery happen? Many people imagine it as one dramatic decision. A person wakes up and decides to betray. But in reality, adultery often begins slowly. It starts with emotional distance at home. Then come private conversations outside the marriage. Then comparison. Then secrecy. Then emotional dependence. Then justification. Then boundary crossing. The affair does not always begin in the body. Often, it begins in the mind. A person starts thinking, "My spouse does not understand me. This other person listens to me. I feel alive with them. It is harmless. We are just friends. I deserve to feel wanted. My marriage is already dead. No one will know. I can control this." These thoughts become the bridge from dissatisfaction to betrayal. The dangerous part is that the person often does not feel like a villain. They feel lonely, unseen, desirable again, alive again, understood again, powerful again, young again, free again, and that feeling can become intoxicating. But feelings do not erase consequences. That is the central conflict of adultery. It may feel private, but it rarely stays private emotionally. It enters the nervous system of the marriage. It changes the way a person lies, withdraws, compares, touches, speaks, avoids, and comes home. Even when the affair is hidden, the marriage often feels different. Now, what is the psychology behind adultery? There is no single reason. People commit adultery for different psychological motives. Reason 1. Emotional neglect. Some people feel unseen within the marriage. They may feel their partner no longer listens, no longer asks questions, no longer shows affection, no longer notices them, and no longer makes them feel attractive, important, or emotionally alive. Then someone outside the marriage gives attention. They listen. They admire. They laugh. They respond. They make the person feel wanted again. That attention becomes powerful, not necessarily because the new person is better, but because the old relationship feels emotionally starved. This does not justify adultery. A neglected partner still has choices. They can communicate, seek counseling, set boundaries, separate, repair. But emotional neglect can create vulnerability. Reason 2. Desire for validation. Some people do not seek an affair because they want a new life. They seek proof. Proof that they are still attractive, still desirable, still powerful, still young, still interesting, still chosen. This is common during midlife transitions, aging, career disappointment, parenting stress, loss of confidence, body changes, sexual insecurity, feeling invisible. The affair becomes a mirror that says, "You still matter." But this is a dangerous mirror. If your self-worth depends on secret admiration, the validation fades quickly and the damage remains. Reason 3. Escape from responsibility. Marriage can become heavy. Bills, children, aging parents, business pressure, household duties, health problems, family expectations, routine, conflict, resentment. A secret relationship can feel like a vacation from reality. No school fees, no arguments about in-laws, no laundry, no medical bills, no daily stress. Only attention, fantasy, novelty, and emotional intensity. This is why affairs can feel more exciting than marriage. Not because the affair is deeper, but because it is less burdened by real life. An affair often competes unfairly with marriage. Marriage carries reality. The affair carries fantasy. Reason 4. Unresolved resentment. Sometimes adultery is not only about desire, it is about anger. A person may feel hurt, rejected, criticized, ignored, controlled, or humiliated. Instead of confronting the pain honestly, they act it out in secret. The affair becomes rebellion, a silent revenge, a way of saying, "You made me feel powerless, so now I will take power somewhere else." But revenge through betrayal usually creates more pain. It does not heal the wound. It multiplies it. Reason 5. Opportunity and weak boundaries. Not every affair begins with deep marital suffering. Sometimes the marriage is not terrible, but the person has poor boundaries. Too much private messaging, too much emotional sharing, too much flirting, too much alcohol, too much secrecy, too much travel intimacy, too much time alone with someone who is clearly becoming emotionally important. Affairs often grow in spaces where boundaries are blurred. Many people do not fall suddenly. They slide gradually. That is why boundary awareness matters. Reason 6. Avoidance of emotional honesty. Some people do not know how to say, "I am unhappy. I feel lonely. I feel rejected. I am losing desire. I am attracted to someone else. I need help. I do not know if I want this marriage." Instead, they avoid the conversation and create a secret life. Adultery can become a cowardly substitute for honesty. Not because the person is evil, but because they are emotionally avoidant. They choose secrecy because truth feels too difficult. Reason 7. Low commitment or entitlement. Some people simply believe the rules do not apply to them. They want the stability of marriage and the freedom of affairs. They want loyalty from their spouse, but secrecy for themselves. They want comfort at home and excitement outside. This is not a complex emotional wound. This is entitlement, and entitlement is destructive. Reason 8. Identity crisis. Some people commit adultery because they are trying to reconnect with a lost version of themselves. Not just another person, but another self. The adventurous self, the sexual self, the admired self, the free self. The self before marriage became routine. The self before children. The self before disappointment. The affair becomes less about the other person and more about who they become in the affair. They may say, "I feel like myself again." But the real question is, why did you lose yourself inside your life? And why did you choose betrayal instead of transformation? Now, can adultery ever be good for anyone? This is a delicate question. Some people claim an affair helped them wake up. It revealed that the marriage was dead. It forced conversations that had been avoided for years. It made them feel alive again. It showed them what they were missing. It gave them the courage to leave a harmful relationship. It helped them understand their own desires. But we have to be careful. That does not make adultery good. It means a crisis exposed a truth. Sometimes a fire exposes cracks in a house. But that does not mean fire is the best way to inspect a home. Adultery may create insight, but it often does so through damage. There are cleaner ways to face marital truth: honest conversation, couples therapy, separation, mutual renegotiation, clear boundaries, ending the marriage respectfully before beginning another relationship. The so-called benefit of adultery is often not the betrayal itself. It is the truth that finally becomes impossible to ignore. Now, what are the negative psychological impacts? For the betrayed partner, adultery can be emotionally devastating. They may experience shock, anger, humiliation, obsessive questioning, sleep disturbance, loss of appetite, anxiety, depression, loss of trust, loss of self-worth, fear of being compared, fear of future betrayal, and difficulty trusting their own memory. They may replay the relationship. When did it start? What was real? Did everyone know except me? Was I foolish? Was I not enough? Can I ever trust again? This is why betrayal is so painful. It does not just hurt the heart. It attacks a person's sense of reality. For the person who committed adultery, the impact can also be serious. Guilt, shame, fear of exposure, compartmentalization, anxiety, loss of integrity, emotional confusion, dependence on secrecy, fear of losing family, damage to reputation, conflict between desire and responsibility. They may feel alive in the affair and ashamed afterward. They may feel powerful outside and weak at home. They may begin lying so often that they become strangers to themselves. For the couple, the marriage may enter crisis. Trust is broken. Communication becomes forensic. Every phone becomes suspicious. Every delay becomes evidence. Every memory becomes contaminated. The betrayed partner asks questions. The unfaithful partner becomes defensive or ashamed. The home becomes tense. Children may sense the instability. Families may get involved. Legal issues may begin. Repair is possible for some couples, but it is not easy. Trust is rebuilt through truth, accountability, transparency, empathy, and consistent behavior over time, not through one apology. Now, what is the impact on future relationships? Adultery can follow people into the future. The betrayed person may struggle to trust again. They may become hypervigilant. They may overcheck. They may fear intimacy. They may choose emotionally unavailable partners. They may feel they are never enough. The person who committed adultery may repeat the pattern if they do not understand it. New partner, same avoidance. New marriage, same secrecy. New excitement, same collapse. Unless the person asks, why did I choose betrayal? What did I avoid saying? What boundaries did I ignore? What entitlement did I carry? What loneliness did I mismanage? What part of me was I trying to escape? Without self-examination, adultery becomes a pattern. Now, let us talk about men and women. Historically, societies have judged men and women differently. In many cultures, male adultery has been minimized as weakness, temptation, or masculine behavior. Female adultery has often been punished more harshly, both socially and legally. This double standard is one reason adultery laws have been criticized by human rights groups. Women may face harsher damage to reputation, family rejection, violence, divorce disadvantage, custody consequences, and social shame. Men may also suffer consequences, but many societies have historically forgiven men more easily. This does not mean men do not experience emotional pain or legal consequences. It means the judgment has often been unequal. In modern societies, this is changing. Younger generations may reject the double standard. They may say betrayal is betrayal, regardless of gender. But culture changes slowly. Now, how common is adultery? That is hard to measure. People lie. People define cheating differently. People underreport because of shame. In conservative cultures, people may hide it more. In liberal cultures, people may admit it more. Some studies measure physical affairs. Others include emotional affairs. Others include online cheating. So the numbers vary. But across cultures, adultery exists everywhere. In Asia, in Europe, in America, in Africa, in the Middle East, in religious societies, in secular societies, in traditional marriages, in modern marriages, in wealthy families, in poor families, in cities, in villages. The difference is not whether adultery exists. The difference is how societies punish it, hide it, excuse it, or talk about it. Now, how do Western societies generally view adultery? In many Western countries, adultery is usually not treated as a major criminal issue. It may still matter in divorce, custody, finances, or public reputation, depending on the legal system. But socially, most people still disapprove of it. Western societies may be more open about sexuality, divorce, dating, and non-traditional relationships, but that does not mean adultery is widely accepted. There is a difference between accepting consensual adult freedom and accepting deception. Many Western people may support open relationships if both partners consent, but they still condemn betrayal. That distinction matters. Consent changes the moral meaning. Adultery is not the same as consensual non-monogamy. Now, how do Asian societies generally see adultery? Asia is not one culture. India is not Japan. Japan is not the Philippines. The Philippines is not Indonesia. Indonesia is not Thailand. Thailand is not South Korea. South Korea is not the Gulf. Religion, law, family honor, urbanization, education, gender roles, and economic power all shape attitudes. But in general, many Asian societies are more likely to treat adultery as a serious moral and family matter.